You're listening to The World at 8 with Lynn Mozart. The World at 8, the number one in nationalist news.
Highlights of the news today, the 18th of April. A new grandson for British National Party leader. Arrested hate cleric can still appeal to the Court of Human Rights. Mayor of Mansfield takes legal advice on defamatory leaflet from Labour. Prime Minister of Spain angry at Falklands Oil takeover. German Islamists to hand out millions of Korans. Western interference in Syria should be a cause for concern. North Korea accepted food handouts from US but denies any nuclear agreement. Love, sex and death in China. Thought for the day, the Luton marchers and more. UK news, breaking news. Jennifer, daughter of Jackie and Nick Griffin and wife to Angus, has given birth to a baby boy who will be named Oliver. Oliver, who weighed in at £6 12 ounces, and his mother are both doing well. I'm sure all nationalists will join us at Radio Britain and wish Oliver every happiness for his future. Radical clerk Abu Qatada can be deported to Jordan after fresh assurances that he will get a fair trial, Theresa May, the Home Secretary, has told MPs. In a statement to the Commons, Theresa May said he could now be removed from the UK in full compliance of law, but she admitted it may take many months as his lawyers could still appeal up to the European Court of Human Rights. Abu Qatada, 51, who faces charges in Jordan of plotting bomb attacks, was arrested earlier and denied bail after a church at a Special Immigration Appeals Commission hearing ordered him to be detained in custody following his arrest by UK border agency officials. Ms May has been quoted as saying he deserves to face justice, but warned that successive governments have been trying to detain him for a decade. A British National Party spokesman commented, "We should just put him on a plane to Jordan and refuse to take him or his family back. That is British justice at its best." The Lord Mayor of Mansfield is taking legal advice against the dirty tricks of the Labour Party. They issued a leaflet which reads of corrupt mayors. The mayor has said he believes it is defamatory. One reporter commented, "The Labour Party have not mentioned that 4 of their Lord Mayors were part of the Labour 25 paedophile scandal and had been involved in child rape or molestation. People in glass houses should not throw stones." One of their mayors was Sam Chowdhury, the first elected Muslim Labour Lord Mayor, but before he was allowed to take office he was arrested for raping children under 10 years old. Euro news. The Prime Minister of Spain is angry with Argentina, but who isn't these days? Mario Rajoy has been angered by the Argentinian Prime Minister by Argentina's nationalisation of its main oil company, which is controlled by the Spanish. The Prime Minister of Spain has said it is unjustifiable and claimed that he will use all his powers to stop the takeover. Salafist Muslims launched a concerted campaign in Germany on Saturday and Sunday aimed at distributing 25 million free Korans across German cities. National Daily, Die Welt, said that around 300,000 copies had been distributed so far. Gunter Krings of the governing centre-right Christian Democratic Union said wherever possible this aggressive action must be stopped. He admitted that handing out religious material was not in itself objectionable, but said that the Salafist radicals were disturbing the religious peace with their behaviour. German media reported on Sunday that the Office for the Protection of the Constitution, Germany's domestic intelligence agency, suspects that either the government of Saudi Arabia or Qatar has financed the German Salafist plan to spread Korans in the Federal Republic. World news. Sanctions made against Syria have rocked the country. The countries in Europe who imposed the sanctions, including France, are on the way to cripple Syria. 50% of their financial reserves are gone, causing more problems for the Syrian people. A spokesperson has commented, "Why can't we learn from Libya? This form of Western financial interference is destroying the Middle East and making it more unstable than ever. We should keep out and let Assad handle his own country and its people." North Korea has slammed the idea that it has done a deal with the United States over nuclear arms. This unstable communist country has said it would not be tied to the US just because they accepted their food aid package at the start of the year. A reporter said, "I fear the lady doth protest too much." The Home Office is pressing China over the death of Neil Hayward last November. Mr Hayward died of excess alcohol consumption, supposedly, and was cremated very hurriedly. It is known he took a drink or two, but not as much as has been intimated by the Chinese authorities. It is suspected he died at the hands of the wife of Bo Xilai, with whom he reportedly was having an affair. Mr Hayward's Chinese wife and children have made an application to come to Britain. A reporter has stated, "The affair and crime have been hushed up for months, and evidence is now coming to light. The suspicions about Neil Hayward's work and death are, for now, just speculation, but it is speculation not from the media, it is from those who know the work he was doing and who know China very well." Bo Xilai's 5-year reign over Chongqing, the world's largest city, saw a string of officials in his administration commit suicide, the jailing or silencing of scores of his opponents, and a near bankruptcy of the city's finances, a Daily Telegraph investigation has learnt. Certainly we will be hearing a lot more of this in the coming months. Talk about sex in the city. Thought for the day: Luton and more. I have just seen the most disgusting YouTube film showing hordes of parasites marching through Luton chanting words to the effect of "UK police burn in hell." This, coupled with a film on Belgium and the huge number of Muslims over there who want to make it an Islamic state, and my mind is reeling. What we have in Europe, whether you approve of multiculturalism or not, is a huge number of people who do not want to integrate into the society to which they have immigrated in large and ever-growing numbers. The only thing I will ever say in favour of Muslims in general is that they are not hypocrites. They are an open Koran. They want a Muslim state. They want Sharia law. They want their culture and their religion to be paramount in whatever country they leech onto. This is a fact. You can scream racism or whatever. These videos show the face of the beast we are facing in Europe today. And what is that lovely expression? When you look into the abyss looks back into you. We are facing the abyss, my nationalist friends. This is the nationalist news, not the BBC or ITV happily ignoring what is really going on news, but the nitty-gritty of living in this country today, with what are strangers out to make our land not so strange to them. In the Luton video, a woman was seen returning to her hometown, and what a rude awakening that must have been. A ravening horde of bearded, hairy men dressed in Eastern gear, along with their Dagenham dustbin cohorts, one of which told the Western woman who was she seducing? She should wear more clothes. What an unmitigated nerve! When are we going to tell these people, for want of a better word, to get out? This is our country. If we want to drink, walk around naked, smoke ourselves stupid, or drug ourselves rotten, we will do so. If you want to walk around in black bed sheets, sprouting drivel, do it in another country, not ours. At the risk of being pulled up for using foul language, where the hell were the bloody police? Not one in sight. Admittedly they were being told to burn in hell, but what do they expect? These Muslim protectors have no respect for our police, however anti-racist they may profess to be, because they are kufra, unbelievers. It doesn't matter what any European, or even non-European, does or doesn't do, because they are beyond the pale anyway. They are not Muslim. When are we going to get it into our heads that we are against the biggest form of religious prejudice in the world? The Muslim religion. It accepts any form of colour, black, white, green, as long as it's Muslim. Nothing else counts. Not country, not people, not possessions, and certainly no one else of a differing religion, which to my ears means true religious prejudice. Not accepting of another person's value due to their religion, not colour, is still prejudice and intolerance on a huge scale. My American husband commented words to the effect of, they, the Muslims, are similar to the Southern Baptists in their fundamentalism. My reply was that, well, if we had Southern Baptists marching and yelling in our cities, my reaction would be the same too. These marches are now never touched on in the media. All of these marches, and they are legion, are never reported on the main news channels. You may ask, why do we have to rely on videos on YouTube? Because the media know if they show even one of these marches on TV, even the poor old lazy Brits will feel a stirring of anger, and we must not have anger, must we? Oh no, because that will reflect on the wonderful, peaceful, hard-working Muslims that are over here. Oh yes, who then are the ones marching in their hundreds, relentlessly shouting for the death of all who do not believe? Have these good Muslims gone to another country? I think not, unless of course they have all gone to Belgium. Ah, the Belgian video was a dream. It showed again many hairy individuals telling the reporter that yes, they wanted a Sharia state in Belgium and they would get it. The reporter calmly took this in, whereas I would have been tempted to shove the camera up this Muslim where the sun don't shine, but he simply panned on to the yelling mass of immigrants. To sum up the Belgian situation, the Muslims have targeted a split country here. Belgium is split between the French influence and the Dutch. Many do not know which or who they are, and they apparently do not care to even think about the 20% Muslim population of Brussels, who currently form the largest religious group in their capital. A quarter of the Muslim population will reach maturity in 2030. Apparently only 5% of the 10 million Belgians are Muslims, but of course I believe the stats are being rather kind. To cap it all, my daughter-in-law is Belgian, and she will not talk to me because I am a nationalist. What is the Muslim equivalent of head in sand? They probably do not have one, which is why they are so frighteningly successful. They are successful because we are so diligent in sweeping their actions under the carpet. The Belgians should treat this burgeoning problem the way it did the Flemish, harshly. What happened in Africa with Idi Amin and this problem? He ran them off and we, as usual, took them into our country. What thanks do we get? Nada, zilch, and so on. Let us hope that Angela Merkel takes the pig by the snout and puts her foot down with the Muslims in her country, who are taking the mickey at the moment with distributing thousands of free Korans throughout Germany, all aided by, of course, the Saudis. The pre-Islamic Middle East was a much nicer place. They had culture, lovely cities and wealth. Unfortunately then we have Muhammad, who despite being a complete failure in his early life, decided to get religion. The one true God is nothing new, even in pagan mythology. The Egyptian king Akhenaten believed and forced his country to follow the one true God, although this was retracted when he died and his name was taken off the stonework throughout Egypt. So good old Muhammad knew a good thing when he saw it. He also operated his conversion amongst the nomadic tribes of the Middle East who were ripe for his pickings. In fact, although it pains me to say so, there was a tribe called the Mozar tribe, from whom, along with the Moat tribe, developed into the Bani Sulaim tribes, and made a practice of cutting to bits all the Muslim missionaries sent to them. More to be found on the critical exposition of the popular jihad on this. It really is very long-winded, but you get the picture. Even in those days, Muslims were not always welcome. But they have been allowed into Europe like an invading army, albeit bleating about being persecuted and reviled. Although I would never preach hellfire and damnation or death to anyone, I say bring on the pigs, my friends. Run them through the ghettos and the mosques. Make sure that the BBC and the Muslims know we do not want them in our country. They act as if they do not want to be here anyway. Britain is not good enough, clean enough, or Muslim enough for them. So what is the answer? Get rid is the answer, and it may well come down to just that. If you do not like the country you have come to or appreciate its generosity, leave, and leave quickly. And finally, King's Road in Brighton is to say goodbye to its rock shop, but only for a short while. The building that houses all the goodies that can be found on the seafront is to be restored and put back in its original place. The salt air and weather has battered the Victorian building, which was once a toll booth. The work on the West Pier will bring other Victorian structures back to their former glory. You have been listening to The World at 8. I am Lynn Mozar, and I wish you all a very good night.